Coming up, the nation waits as a Minneapolis jury decides the fate of Derek Chauvin.
A group calls for accountability within Fargo police, the changes they want to see.
Plus, a teacher hit with an unexpected tax bill after trying to help his students get through the pandemic. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
We begin tonight with some good news as the streets in the Twin Cities are relatively quiet, something that hasn't happened for days. This as jurors are done for the night deliberating in the trial of Derek Chauvin. People were out earlier just as the case went to the jury late this afternoon. They're demanding guilty verdicts on all 3 charges against Chauvin in the death of George Floyd.
Minnesota National Guard soldiers are there to protect the courthouse, and businesses have been boarded up just in case. In neighboring Brooklyn Center, where Daunte Wright was shot and killed by a police officer, a curfew will go into effect at 11 and remain in place until 6 tomorrow morning.
Now, the other big story tonight is the death of former Vice President and presidential candidate Walter Mondale.
His family announced he passed away in Minneapolis at the age of 93. Natalie Brandt has more on Mondale's groundbreaking political legacy.
A few minutes ago,
Walter Mondale is often remembered for losing the presidency to Ronald Reagan in 1984. But he also made history by picking Geraldine Ferraro as his running mate, the first woman on a major party presidential ticket.
I think they're looking nervous.
The Republicans.
Well, the White House.
The Minnesota native and lifelong Democrat also left an enduring mark on the vice presidency.
So help me God.
The son of a Methodist preacher, Walter Mondale's political career was marked by early success. He became Attorney General of his home state of Minnesota at 32, and he was elected to the U.S. Senate at 36.
Well, we got meet some folks.
Sure, I'd be delighted.
In 1976, Jimmy Carter tapped Mondale to be his running mate on the Democratic presidential ticket.
And I'm proud and honored to be a part of this team.
After Carter's victory, Mondale immediately beefed up the job of vice president, moving the vice president's office to the west wing of the White House, and he started having weekly lunches with the president. Both traditions endure to this day. Carter was defeated for re-election in 1980. 4 years later, Mondale sought the top job for himself, but he faced a popular president in Ronald Reagan, who was running for re-election.
Mr. Reagan will raise taxes, and so will I. He won't tell you. I just did.
Mondale suffered one of the biggest electoral defeats in U.S. history.
Ronald Reagan still has a chance for an historic 50-state sweep.
President Reagan beat Mondale in 49 states, leaving Mondale with only the electoral votes from his home state of Minnesota and Washington, D.C. After that defeat, Mondale moved back and forth between public and private sectors. He served as ambassador to Japan under President Clinton. In 2002, he lost his attempt to reclaim his old Minnesota Senate seat, but he was gracious in defeat.
And in what is obviously the end of my last campaign, I want to say to Minnesotans, you always treated me decently. You always listened to me.
That Midwestern humility endeared Mondale to his home state and a generation of his fellow Democrats. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Washington.
The Mondale family said in a statement plans for memorials will be announced later for both Minnesota and Washington, D.C.
More than 100 Moorhead High School students started their school week with a walkout earlier today to protest the death of Daunte Wright and support for both Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate movements. The group made their way to Romkey Park in Moorhead, many of the students sharing their experiences dealing with racism.
And I think that's something that a lot of us experience, the fear that it could be our friends, our family next. It's not right, and our community should not be like this.
This was a student-driven initiative that was also done in many districts across the state of Minnesota.
A group of activists banded together inside and outside Fargo City Hall this evening, hoping to hold the City Commission accountable for the part they play in creating an equal community. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor has more.
Dozens of people of all races gathered together outside Fargo City Hall, hoping to engage city leaders into taking action on issues of equality in the area.
It's basically to call on our city to focus more on marginalized community, making sure that our voices are heard, making sure that they're demanding accountability.
And that outcry for accountability was strongly displayed during tonight's City Commission meeting.
I need them to make us and let us see that they care about who we are as a people.
The room was packed wall to wall of people wanting to voice their need for equality, including asking to have possible bias within the Fargo Police Department be evaluated. Standing up for the cause was not just for all races, but also sexual orientation. And the bravery of people sharing their concerns did not go unnoticed by some on the City Commission.
I'm so proud of you.
Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says opportunities for public input helps form a better community.
The overwhelming message that I would take out of it is people want to build an embracing, loving community. We want to get rid of hate and we want to learn how to work together.
But working together may mean having further difficult discussions on issues impacting minorities and the LGBT community. And many of the people in the room say they will continue taking a stand until they see change. In Fargo, Nashay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Mayor Mahoney says they're already looking at addressing policing issues in the city, including possibly creating an oversight committee. If you need help uncovering an issue in your community, call our whistleblower hotline. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it. Call 237-6576 and leave your tip.
Alcoholic beverages to go are no longer allowed in the city of Fargo as of midnight tonight. The City Commission voting 3-2 to end the temporary policy that was in place due to the pandemic, allowing the retail sale, curbside pickup, or delivery of alcoholic beverages when sold in conjunction with a meal. West Fargo police have found the vehicle they were looking for and a final suspect in the shooting that injured a little boy. They say this third suspect is a juvenile, so they're not releasing more information about the person. 2 others have already been arrested in connection with the shooting. It happened on March 22nd in the area of 9th Street West and Parkway Drive, and police say it's centered around an attempted robbery. A 6-year-old boy who was lying in bed was grazed by a bullet in the head.
More than half of adults in the U.S. have received a COVID vaccine. According to the CDC, 50% of Americans have received 1 shot. 32% of the population is considered fully vaccinated. The numbers are similar here at home. 36% of Minnesotans and 37% of North Dakotans are fully vaccinated. Experts say it would take 70% for the country to reach herd immunity. As of today, everyone 16 and older in the U.S. is now eligible to receive a vaccine. To find a place to get yours, use our VNL vaccine tracker. It's on the homepage of our website, or you can open your phone camera and point it at the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine is still authorized despite a recommended pause by the CDC and FDA last week. If you received the shot, experts are urging you to seek medical treatment immediately for side effects like headache, backache, neurological symptoms, abdominal pain, shortness of breath, leg swelling, tiny red spots on the skin, and new or easy bruising. They say the pause is giving scientists time to determine whether the vaccine is linked to the blood clots, and if so, whether recommendations on who should receive it should change.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has signed a bill covering the cost of health insurance for families of emergency responders who die in the line of duty. It's in honor of fallen Grand Forks officer Cody Holte. The bill will not only cover health insurance for surviving spouses, but also any dependents of those lost in the line of duty. For Grand Forks representatives, the bill hits close to home.
It's my hope that this law honors his legacy and serves as a tribute to him, to his family, and to all who serve.
The Grand Forks Police Department will never be the same, nor will the law enforcement community ever be the same.
The bill has a retroactive date of 2010.
More free Lyft rides are coming to North Dakota. The goal is to keep impaired drivers off the road. During its launch over St. Patrick's Day, ND Sober Ride provided 800 drivers with Lyft vouchers. Keep an eye out for the Vision Zero website. That's where the codes will be advertised when they're available. The program is also expanding to smaller communities, and the DOT is looking for additional sponsors.
Instead of always preaching to find that ride home or be the sober driver, designate a sober driver, this gives people the option to have a solution before they even go out.
The lift codes are unique to each holiday or event, and you may only use one code per time period. North Dakota lawmakers also passed a bill requiring schools to teach Native American history. It received overwhelming support from both parties in both chambers. It now goes to the governor. The courses will be incorporated into elementary social studies and high school history classes. Proponents hope learning about North Dakota.
It's a little gut-wrenching. As a teacher, I think many people understand that our salaries are not as high as other jobs.
Still ahead tonight on Valley News Live at 10, a tax warning if you're planning a fundraiser. A teacher who just wanted to give back hit with a $16,000 bill.
But first, another chilly day tomorrow before a warm-up is on its way. Hutch has details for us. And Valley News Live at 10 continues.